What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellowshow. My name's Kyle. We're joined tonight by John Heffernon and Drake Sanford. We're talking fantasy hoops. We took the week off last week for Thanksgiving. We're back. We're going to talk about as much basketball as we can. We'll look at some individual fantasy lineups and whatnot. We'll get to some of the news. But I'll welcome in Drake. How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Rejuvenated after the holiday weekend, ready to talk some basketball.
Yeah, I needed the week to reset, so now I feel kind of re-energized here. We're gonna get the basketball content pumping out as more time. We need more games. I need more data yet on the basketball season to get into things. But John, how are we doing over there?
I feel the total opposite. I have too much data. There's too much information already from basketball. It's crazy.
Well, I wanted to. Christmas time is always when the basketball ramps up. I think it's still kind of this preseason mode that we got going on, but there are some teams that are like treating it like the real thing right now. You got, of course, Golden State, 18-2. I think that's even a better record start than they had in their record-setting season way back when. But the Suns right now on a 16-game win streak. I want to open up with talking about the Suns, and so conveniently we get Golden State versus Phoenix tonight in about 3 hours they tip off. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about the Suns first, or should we move into something else?
I mean, John was just in Phoenix, so I think he needs to talk about the Suns.
Yeah, we should definitely start with the Suns.
All right, let me. I'm gonna.
It's not too bright in here, but can't you tell how tan I am?
Here we go. Let's look at the Phoenix Suns again on a 16-game win streak. I think they started the season 1-3, but they just been rolling, and tonight they're going to get the best team in the league right now. So, John, what can you tell us about the Suns?
It's just a good team. Like they're so balanced. This is a team that made a finals run for a lot of reasons last year, and besides Chris Paul, basically every key contributor on their roster is very young and probably still improving. The fantasy numbers don't really blow you away. Obviously, I'd love to see Booker basically at 40 a game, but everyone else looks like is doing what you would expect them to do from like a fantasy performance wise. McGee, I guess McGee seems to be overachieving right now, but if you look at his minutes, it always blows me away at like how he can do what he does on like 20 minutes or less a game.
15 minutes a game.
Yeah, it's crazy. But beyond that, everything looks pretty like kind of what you would expect from a team that I watched do a lot of crazy stuff last season.
And it's weird. A team that's playing this well, they really only have 4, maybe 5 guys that you can use for fantasy, but it's all consolidated. They all play defense, and they all kind of just, I don't know. It's a team that knows each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they just play good team basketball, even if it's not great fantasy basketball. But I'm going to have to watch this game tonight. Drake, did you have anything to add on the Phoenix Suns?
Well, maybe from a fantasy perspective in a draft position, is DeAndre Ayton kind of a disappointment right now?
Well, he missed a good chunk of time. I think that was that something contract or COVID related. I can't remember. It doesn't say any news here.
I think it might have been COVID related.
Yeah, it was one of the two. But yeah, in the last 7 days, he's only been averaging 24 points per game. Didn't have the greatest game last time he went out, but a second or third round pick maybe for most people. Let me see here, 4th round pick in this league. But it looks like he's underperforming. Mikal Bridges, though, averaging 30.6. That looks pretty good. I think he was he's an 8th round pick, so he's humming along pretty well there. And then I don't know, Chris Paul, you're getting what you expected out of Chris Paul, a 4th round pick. So it looks like Paul and Ayton kind of went in the same range, but it looks like Paul's performing better. And then as far as but
I think you probably expect Ayton to improve that, and we know Chris Paul is probably staying.
He's gonna stay steady, Eddie. Yeah. But no blocks in the last 4 games for DeAndre Ayton. That's kind of weird. So he'll get some things going. He'll probably end up in the high 30s, kind of like Booker, I would imagine. It's just kind of disappointing that I think Jay Crowder's been a guy that's been bounced off a lot of teams. I'm just looking down here. He's been kind of, bounced around a lot of teams right now, but nobody's really sticking. So they got 4 or 5 dudes that are staying in our fantasy lineups. But let's, I guess since we're here, let's take a peek at Golden State because that's the headlining game tonight. and they're kind of the same. They have about 5 or 6 guys that are very useful here. I don't see either. You guys don't have any of these guys on your teams, but it looks like only 4 players are rostered here: Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Steph Curry. What's Otto Porter Jr.? John, have you been able to watch any Golden State lately?
I haven't seen a single Golden State game in like 2 weeks, but I definitely was looking at trying to pick up Otto Porter Jr. today. I was kind of considering him among a couple other players, and really liked that most recent game he just played with 18 points. So I thought that really stood out to me. Apparently he's coming back from injury or something. I was reading his blurb earlier, and I think he's like coming back from injury. So if he can get, he's a guy who is an incredible role player. I really liked what he did as a couple years ago with Wall and Beal as the third banana. I think there's interesting upside for like the 4th, 5th banana on this Warriors team, especially when Klay comes back. And I don't see why Otto Porter couldn't like just hold that spot down the rest of the season. Someone sits out a game or two. I don't know. He's just a guy I kind of like, but we'll see what happens. He has been injured a lot and not very useful a lot the last 2 years. So,
do we have an update on James Wiseman?
So him and Wiseman and Klay were sent to the G League team, but Wiseman himself, well, this was Sunday's news, so I think that means that they're going to probably, ramp it up, play, do some practices with the G League team, and then eventually just play.
Yeah. So it sounds like he has not yet been cleared for 5-on-5 work. It does sound like he's doing 3-on-3 stuff, but nothing like full live speed 5-on-5.
But that was Sunday's news, and then I sent you guys that blurb today.
Right. So
that might have been updated, and ESPN hasn't updated. I don't know. But they're both down with the G League to ramp up the rehab. So
maybe sometime December we'll be getting Wiseman and Klay Thompson back. So that's scary to think about, a team that's 18-2, getting 2 stud players like that back. So that's going to be fun. And then I guess since we kind of hopped into Phoenix, we hopped into Golden State. Do we want to just do what we normally do and just take a peek at some of the standings and kind of just get refreshed here and get loose into the show? Looking at the East, the Nets and the Bulls continue to pace the East here, but Miami, the Wizards slipped back a little bit. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. The Bucks are surging back to the top of the charts here. They're 8-2 over their last 5 games on a 7-game win streak. Charlotte Hornets, John was talking about Bucks Hornets tomorrow night, I believe, right?
Yes.
So that
7 p.m. Central Time, ladies and gentlemen.
The Hornets are 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they're on a 2-game losing streak. So they're actually, playing pretty well, minus the last 2 games. And then you just got this big, thick mess of teams hovering just slightly above 500 here, and it kind of just continues to taper off. Detroit, Orlando, we're going to kind of just forget about these guys, but it's looking pretty solid from everybody from the Pacers on up. Drake, your Cavs on a 2-game win streak. How are the Cavs looking at the moment?
They're looking like they did in the early season. They got Markkanen, Mobley, and Love back, so that's a huge thing. They lost Sexton for the year, but Ricky Rubio has been really filling into that role, excellent, and so's Garland. So, they have a chance to, kind of probably be that fringe team.
And Kevin Love has been playing now for the last couple of weeks, it looks like. So he's kind of hovering around 20 minutes per game. That looks good. I know Markkanen came back. He's been playing pretty well too, but really picking up the scoring. He's at, in the 20s here. So that's been kind of the missing piece for scoring that Colin Sexton lost up. But why is Ricky Rubio only 55% rostered? That's what I'm not understanding. He's kind of on a downtrend over the last week or two, but man, he was putting up some massive numbers earlier.
Well, I mean, more guys came back. Rubio was putting up huge points, and they were losing. So.
And then I'm trying to see if anything else sticks out. Like they have a legit like top 5, top 6 group of fantasy players here. And then Chede, who I was able to pick up not too long ago. I don't know what his issue now. He's got a back issue, but he's a guy here that's only 4% rostered. And when he plays, he's going to play pretty well for you in fantasy league. So check out him if he's available on your waiver wires. John, any quick thoughts on the Cavs?
Get Lamar Stevens while you can.
Lamar Stevens.
I honestly, I still am pretty naive to this young man, but apparently he's a rookie, and I got a Top Shot moment of his. I think I got 2, so I'm bullish now on this guy.
He was a rookie last year.
Sure, let's go. Second year, he's 20. That's fine. It's acceptable.
And then I forgot to mention at the top of the show, but we should talk Lakers real quick. LeBron James is in the COVID protocols here, so he's out for who knows how long. So Justin says, welcome to the Russ show. Lakers about to be the 4th seed after tonight. We'll see. I did want to I was frustrated. We were talking before the show. I dropped Talon Horton-Tucker, I think yesterday, and I wish I could have him back. But John, what are we looking at with the Lakers? No LeBron. They've kind of been without LeBron sporadically throughout the season so far, so we kind of already have a good glimpse here. And I think Talon Horton-Tucker is probably the biggest beneficiary of this. But what can we expect from the Lakers while LeBron's away?
Well, I mean, I think whoever mentioned it in the chat is right. It's the Rush show. He's going to take over. He's going to dominate the ball. And then Anthony Davis is going to keep shooting jump shots. And right now he's shooting like the worst. I think he somehow has like one of the worst shooting percentages on like mid-range shots for someone who's shot, over 100 of those so far or 50 of those so far, whatever, like of all time, or maybe a top like 10 or bottom 10 performance historically. It's some sort of like ridiculously shitty shooting percentage. So I kind of feel like he's going to recover. His shooting is going to improve. His offense is going to improve. Like this, to me, 47.5 or like 47.5 is like Anthony Davis floor games right now. So, especially with LeBron out, he just has to. He has to get the ball. He has to do more stuff, or else they're just going to lose all these games. So you can't rely on Russell to be a one-man show as much fun as that could be sometimes. And Horton-Tucker, yeah, I think you're right. He's gonna get more playing time. Carmelo seems to be. I feel like even when LeBron missed games earlier, Carmelo still gets the same minutes. So I feel like his role's unchanged. But he should get more shots as a result. So those are some of the guys I think that might benefit.
What about this guy, Drake? Drake knows Malik Monk pretty well. I think last year he was on and off our teams a lot, but he's playing some good minutes in like 44 minutes, 34 minutes, 31. This is a guy who's pretty consistent part of this rotation right now, and his numbers the last few games have been going up. Only 4% rostered, so if you need to steal someone for a night, just want to add him for the one game or hold on to him for a second. I think you have 2 more games this week. Malik Monk's a guy to look into, maybe even Carmelo Anthony. But Drake, any final thoughts on the Lakers?
No, it's pretty top heavy as we can see here. But I like the Monk thoughts. He's probably going to get more minutes with LeBron out too. I don't know if his minutes depend on LeBron being in there or not, but him and Horton-Tucker are the youngest ones of this group, so they'll get some time in here. So
and
probably worth adding to the list.
It looks like we got a question from our guy Glenn Yepez here saying, when's Rui Hachimura coming back? Should we take a peek at the beloved Washington Wizards here? Let's see. Thomas Bryant's probably scheduled back to come soon too, but I don't know if we're going to care about him for fantasy. So we have Rui Hachimura. This is from November. This is from today. He won't play against the T-Wolves. He did not travel with the Wizards on their 4-game road trip. So he's going to remain out when they return home. So that might be tomorrow night.
He's in this lull, and it's not injury related. I think it's like it says a personal kind of thought, but
yeah, non-injury related.
It's hard to know when it's something like that. But from what I read, and I think I heard it today, that he's expected back here probably this week.
Okay, so he's only Glenn. He's only 7% rostered here. If you're looking at having him, you can pick him up, and then it sucks, but he's labeled out. So if you do have an IR spot, you can slide him down there and wait and see. I think we're all probably going to go do this after the show. We're probably going to go look and see what Rui is doing. But if you have the IR spot, I would say it's worth stashing and holding on. And then while we're here, I do want to look at Thomas Bryant real quick. Looks like they're saying no recent news. He had the ACL tear last year, so I think we're probably not going to be relying on him. But interesting. So while we're here,
I think I heard that in the same report, Bryant would be back in December.
Really?
So
Let me see if there was that anything on Rui Hachimura's reports?
It was the same. Yeah, it was the same. It was the Wizards beat writer. He was talking on. I listened to a Sirius thing all day. Sirius radio. Not that it's serious, but and they were talking about Rui, and they said they thought he would be back this week. You know, you never know, but they said Bryant was looking like he'd be back December. So I mean, that's a whole month, but
excellent.
Something to monitor.
And he's about I guess it's now about a full calendar year since he tore his ACL last year. So I don't know if he's going to be, he's probably not going to be thrust into big minutes or anything right away. But the Wizards getting two really nice young pieces back potentially is some good news for them. And then just to answer Glenn's question real quick, on the Wiseman thing, we think he's coming back in the next week or two. He's going to be entering the G League. And it sounds like
give it 2 weeks, Glenn.
Yeah, something
2 weeks. I think he's back.
Mid-December.
A full 2 weeks, yeah, mid-December.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks for both him and for Clay.
Yeah.
And
I don't think they come back just for the Christmas game.
Right.
Come back before that.
Right. So maybe
knowing the Warriors and Steve Kerr, they're not going to try to make this a big thing.
And the team's playing really well, 18-2. There's no desperation to get wins on the board. So
another thing to think of is Clay and Wiseman have never played together, but they're going to get to now in the G League.
So let them.
And do you think anyone else is getting the ball when those two are on the court? So they're gonna get some good camaraderie here.
Shooting and rebounding.
Share a hotel room.
Let's see what else we got in the comments here. Bones Highland having solid games. DeAndre Bembry, Amari looks here.
Yeah, but I was watching some Nuggets Heat highlights from last night, and Bones Highland hit like at least 2 bombs from like 30
Is that the best name in basketball?
Probably.
Can anyone beat that?
Bones Highland is real good.
And look at that.
It's definitely not consistent, but when it's good, it's pretty good.
So it looks like when he actually gets the minutes.
Right. I don't know if his minutes depend on somebody particularly, but
they might increase. I mean, Porter Jr. is done.
Yeah, let's talk about Denver here and what's going to be going on for that. He's done for the full year. So Jeff Green's probably the guy that is.
He can't play the full season. Like
right.
He's playing a lot. Holy crap.
Yeah. So this was a guy, I picked him up and I dropped him, unfortunately. I just used him for one game last night. I didn't care for the result at 12.75. You got to get out of here. But this guy's probably going to stick around for 30 minutes or so per game here. I probably should have been a little bit more patient with him. He had been putting up some nice minutes here in some points, 24, 39, and 21. But if you need somebody, he's only 3.4% rostered here, so I think Jeff Green is a good play. I don't know why is Aaron Gordon only 44% rostered? He's probably one of the best pickups if he's available for you. But John, what do we make of this Denver Nuggets lineup here with officially no more Michael Porter Jr.?
Jokic is very lonely.
Yes,
it's a Bones Highland is aptly named. It's like a graveyard, kind of like it's a bad roster talent wise. Gordon is the next best player, and he can't shoot. He's better now than he's ever been, but he still really can't shoot. I think they'll still win games, but I don't know what kind of guys here you can rely on fantasy wise. Gordon is solid. If you can get him off the waiver wire, sure, but I feel like most competitive leagues he's got to be rostered by now, given the Porter Jr. injury news. So I agree with you on Jeff Green. He seems like he's the biggest beneficiary in new minutes because of the injury. So I think that could be something that will stick. And he has spent, earlier in his career, super injury prone, but lately, the last like 4 or 5 years, he just soaks up minutes and soaks up games. So he's really an interesting fantasy asset if this team continues to have injury issues.
So I just filtered by minutes per game over the last 7 days. Aaron Gordon leads the team with 35.7. Will Barton Barton's only 68% rostered, so there's a small chance he gets dumped in one of your leagues. Go add him. Jokic here at 3, Jeff Green at 31.7, Monte Morris, the point guard. He's about 13.5% rostered here, and he's getting 30 minutes per game, and it's been very consistent and steady here. So if you play in 10 or 12-man leagues, this is like a fringe end of the roster guy. Again, only 13% rostered, so he should be looked at. Still don't know what's going on with Campazzo here. It looks like he has been getting steady minutes the last 5 games. So this is for a 10-man league. This is a fringe end of the roster guy here for you. So it looks like he could be beneficial coming up for you guys. But Bones Highland 21 minutes, Jermichael Green 21 minutes, kind of falls off. What's going on with Jamal Murray, John? You've been holding on to Jamal here. Do we have any updates on Jamal?
I don't really pay attention. There's no news. Last time I checked a month ago, there was no news. So
okay,
I'm not really sure. I haven't really investigated beyond the fantasy app. So because ESPN has no news, I have no news. But I think last I read, which was like months ago, I think he was supposed to come back, potentially like All-Star break at the earliest. So I was interested in that, and he's holding down an IR spot.
So what the Nuggets need to make a trade for something to redo this, or what are you doing with the Nuggets, Drake?
I don't think. I mean, they already made that trade. That trade was last year for Aaron Gordon, and Aaron Gordon was supposed to be with these guys, and it's. I don't know where they go from here. I think they kind of stay as this Joker-led fringe team. I mean, Porter was actually terrible this year before he got injured too. After they paid him the max. So if I'm the GM of the Nuggets right now, I'm going full 2K, and I'm grabbing picks and trading people and calling it. But that won't happen because they're a playoff team. They're gonna be
and with the team, they got the Joker. Like they have to at least put some effort in. They're gonna
they have kind of failed the Joker, right?
Yeah.
But what do? They tried to make the move. They brought in Gordon. Okay, we have a 4th piece now,
and
now
injuries, derailed things,
back injuries, and I think did Jamal get hurt in the playoffs?
Yes, he tore it in the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's just tough luck.
It is unfortunate, but
at least they got legal. We got that going for them.
They got ways to cope. But, Justin's asking Golden State or Suns tonight. Drake,
I'm going Golden State tonight, and the only reason why is because I was reading some interesting stats today about teams that just went on a huge, like the Suns have been on the road for a while,
right?
And the first game back, it's like I think it was like a 38% win rate after a huge road trip. Your first home game back. So that's the only reason, because I think these two are the best teams right now in the West.
Oh.
And John, who you got?
That's interesting, Drake. I was going to say Suns, but
I think you should go with the Suns.
This one's
16-game win streak.
This one's in Phoenix, Drake. They do play the Suns on Friday, so maybe.
No, that's what I was saying. Phoenix has been on a road trip, haven't they? Oh, not that bad.
So Phoenix, hold on. Where are we? So Phoenix, they've been on a 4-game road trip.
They're on a 4-game all over. San Antonio, Cleveland, New York, and Brooklyn.
So I'm leaning Phoenix. That makes sense to me. John, did you want to put a name on this one, Golden State or Phoenix?
I'm taking Phoenix 100%. One thing that debunks that stat that I'm just totally making up here, I have nothing to reference. You stay 2 nights in New York. That's a fun spot to stay. You come home, you fuck shit up.
And what's the longest win streak? I don't know off the top of my head, but on a 16 game.
I think it's 20 plus. I think it's like maybe 26. I think it might be the Miami Heat that Heatles team did it. Pretty sure. I think. If someone fact check me, because that could be crazy wrong.
It sounds right. But I'm just pulling up. We got a drop 1 question, and Fernie, I think that's Simons here. Or is that Simmons? Aunt Simmons? Am I just doing something stupid here?
You already know you were looking at Simmons earlier today, Kyle.
Oh, I didn't look at him. I just click on the name and then I just move on my merry way. If they trip my sensors, I just add them to the list and we'll talk about them later. But of these three guys here, he's asking to drop one. Melton's averaging the least amount of points over the last 7 days. Over the last 15 days, it's a tie between Melton and Jeff Green. So does anyone stick out?
I'm keeping Simons. I'm starting him. And then I'm probably dropping Melton. Just because we just had a big Jeff Green love fest, so we probably should
probably roll with Jeff Green. I'm cool with that. John, do you have any reason to keep Melton over the other two?
This is a tough one.
I think we'll look at Memphis next after this. We'll kind of talk about the job.
I think I'd probably I've been watching Melton a lot because I'm the jaw owner in our league, and so I'm trying to find crafty ways to replace him. And I've been really disappointed with Melton so far. It's been like 3 games, 2 games. I don't know. Not a lot of runway there, but I've been disappointed with what I've kind of seen on the stat sheet so far. I'm sure he could turn it around, but I think I'm going to cut him.
And the minutes have been sub 20 the last couple games here, so I think we can find brighter days. So we'll let Melton go. Justin's asking, when is Harrison Barnes and Norman Powell coming back? Do either of you guys hold Powell? I thought Drake had him at one point.
I did.
It looks like Diggity Dalton's got him.
He saw me drop him.
Dalton says hello. He's in the chat room here. He says he wants the number 1 seed there, John.
That's a curse. You don't want that.
But looking at this real quick, I'm looking at Norman Powell, not available for Tuesday's game.
Thank you, Dalton. I appreciate that. That's kind. I think you're going to win this week, but we'll see. I just got THT, which was apparently good, so watch out, I guess.
We'll see. It sounds like Norman Powell's going to be back on Thursday, or at least has a chance to play on Thursday. Harrison Barnes, real quick here. He's listed as doubtful for tonight. He's got that foot injury.
They play again tomorrow, too.
Yeah, so that might be it.
Week, so
that might be it. So he's going to probably play in the next game or two. And then we got a question on Maxi Kaliba. Also Maxi Kaliba is good without KP. Let me pull that up. Let's take a look at the Dallas Mavericks here.
Dude, I say always go get Kleber. You never know. Porzingis is always 2 footsteps away from being out for the season, so go get Kleber at all times.
And the 4-game sample here is pretty nice. He's not gonna wow you in any statistic, but the 6 assists 1 game is pretty nice here. He's been getting a block in every game, so that's kind of nice as well. Just a healthy. You're gonna get probably 1 stinker in there, but it looks like he's worth a roster spot in 10 or 12-man leagues. Again, 3% rostered here, so I do like the Kleber call. Justin got back to us. He says the 33 win streak was the Lakers in the 71-72 season, and then the Miami Heat are second with 26 wins in a row. So we're not.
There you go. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
We're not even close there. And then, whoa, Pele. What? A wild Pele appears here, saying the road goes through the defending champion.
Oh my!
Love that. We'll see what happens. We got a lot of season left, man.
I'd love to see it.
Didn't we put an asterisk on that championship last year or something?
I think we tried to.
I can't remember. I think that it was the Russell asterisk.
Yeah.
I believe. I can't recall exactly, but
we didn't really believe it, so we chose not to accept it.
But John ducked out. He might have been. He was interested in talking about the Memphis Grizzlies and the absence of Ja Morant. So maybe Drake and I can kind of try and fill the void here. But it's unfortunate. Do we have an exact timetable here? It does say no timetable for Ja Morant. It's not season ending, so that's good news. I guess we're just gonna have to check in, and he's going to be kind of considered week to week. But Drake, right off the top of your head, how do you replace a guy like Ja Morant? Is probably going to be a committee for sure.
Yeah, I would think, Tyus Jones in the past has we've all had Tyus Jones on our teams, I think, one point or the other. He'll probably start filling that void. He usually does pretty well for Morant. So, for this team is actually kind of deep.
They have maybe 10 players that they use on the regular here. But John, since you bounced back with us, we're just looking at John Morant and asking the question: how do the Memphis Grizzlies replace him? They can't replace him with just one player. They're going to do it by committee. But for fantasy, who are the guys that we care about? So far, John Morant's missed 2 games. I guess they played tonight yet, but the last 2 games, I'm just kind of looking through the numbers and seeing who sticks out. But what are your thoughts there on the John Morant news?
Yeah, I think Drake makes a really good point about Tyus Jones. I think he should be someone. He would be the guy that's kind of performing poorly so far, like 20 points or less, or around 20 points. That I would probably keep my eyes on the most. Desmond Bain and Dylan Brooks, I think, will get a lot more shots as a result of this. And Bain is one of like the most efficient shooters in the NBA, especially from the 3-point. So I think he could potentially see a really interesting uptick. But, Jaren Jackson's kind of the last, like, central offensive player on this roster. So hopefully, he has another gear that he can get to scoring-wise. He's 3 games in a row in the teens. He needs to be 3 games in a row in the low 20s. So can he do that going forward? And maybe. He's got some crazy offensive tools, and he's, like, 7'1".
So I just filtered by minutes over the last 7 days. Desmond Bain, he needs to be added in pretty much all formats, I think, right now, 8, 10, 12-man leagues. Like, I don't care. He's only 33% rostered, but he leads the team in minutes over the last 7 days. So also about 25 fantasy points per game in our scoring format here. So he's been one of the better Grizzly players. There's Jaren Jackson, of course. Dylan Brooks, though, he's only 35% roster as well. So I think both shooting guards, you're going to replace John Morant with a couple shooting guards and sprinkles of Tyus Jones. So those 3 guys all probably carry some weight going forward. We kind of benched D'Anthony Melton here. I do think the minutes are going to be around 20 minutes per game, but you're looking at this range of, probably 14 to 26 points like we see here. So if you need someone for a game or two, perhaps it can be Melton. Are we done with Kyle Anderson? Let me see the numbers here.
I've always been done with Kyle Anderson.
Last year he did put up some good numbers, but they kind of have too many names and too many faces now. I don't even know if he starts for them. John, does he start?
No, he hasn't been playing much. And the only reason he balled out at the end of last year was because Ja was out. And Kyle Anderson is, like, surprisingly a solid kind of point guard-esque player, like point forward type, if you will. Yeah. So I think if he gets minutes and Ja's not on the floor, he is essentially the de facto point guard on the court. So if he gets minutes at any time now, he could be really interesting fantasy-wise. He's probably, him and Tyus Jones are the 2 most interesting guys, in my opinion, that, aren't doing much at this moment.
So this is strange. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys averaging more than 18 minutes per game over the last 7 days. So it's almost like they're almost spreading themselves too thin. They don't have anybody averaging more than 28 minutes per game here. So it almost seems like they need to double down and stop playing with some of these lower guys here. Unless they just let the boys watch. But I don't know. Any final thoughts here on Memphis, or would you guys like to start calling out some teams to look at?
Let's go look at the Heat.
Let's go look at the El Heat, eh?
I'll say this as we move over. Dude, Bain is the perfect 2 guard for Ja. They're a match made in heaven, and I think Bain was drafted either this year or last year. He's very young. That could be a really fun group to watch in the future.
Mm-hmm. I think he's a second-year player. But Drake, what are we curious about looking at for Miami?
I have no idea. I just wanted to look at him.
All right. So over the last 7 days, they got 5 guys. So here's the difference. Like, Miami has 5 dudes averaging more than 30 minutes per game. Memphis has 0. So the Heat are just, pouring it into their top 5 players: Jimmy Butler, Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Max Strus. What is going on here?
Well, Strus is obviously the big 5 part of it.
Yeah, but so this is interesting.
Is he taking Duncan minutes?
He's getting 31 minutes in both.
He's taking Tucker minutes too.
The points are there, a couple rebounds and assists and a couple steals per game here. What's going on here? Duncan is now shifting to about 28.8 minutes per game. So they're still running 2 heavy shooting guards out there, but interesting. Strus only Where's Robert Owens when we need him? In his 14-man league, this is the pickup, is it not?
Yeah, that's a pickup.
True. Yeah, absolutely. You would think of competitive 14-man, this guy would be not available, but he's.
I mean,
he's
Spoelstra,
move.
if he finds a guy, he's playing him. So
Right.
I don't think Max Strus just disappears here.
What's this Gabe Vincent about here, John? What can you tell us about sweet Gabe Vincent?
Well, I just think like they have a couple guys who they fill in at that 4 or 5 spot, whether it's the starters or the bench, and Vincent, Strus, PJ Tucker for the starters specifically, and Caleb Martin. Those are kind of just like random utility knives they have in their pocket that they just throw in whenever they need to. So. I don't know much about any one of them, but I think, right now Strus is the hot hand, and I would like to see which one of these guys ends the season on top and is their playoff rotation piece.
Okay. And then are we expecting Oladipo to play anytime soon?
I think so.
He's got a quadriceps injury. There's still no timeline on his season debut. This was from the 13th of November. So still nothing really.
He's going to be one of those, we see this all the time with basketball. He's just going to be one of those poppers one day. It's like, all right, yeah, we're playing Oladipo.
Yep, he's back.
I don't think he plays probably much right away, but as you guys can see, this isn't a terribly deep team.
No.
So if he's healthy and playing,
he's going to get minutes.
He's going to get minutes, meaningful minutes. So.
Yeah. Imagine if Oladipo got all of Gabe Vincent's minutes. That would be good for any team.
Yeah.
I don't know. This Gabe Vincent, let's I just want to dive in a little bit.
Can we get him on the show? Gave up to
No, we can talk to his agent and see if we can land a Sunday afternoon or something. But from what it looks like, he has been playing a lot of ball for them over the last month of November here. And especially the last 2 games, 29 minutes and 31 minutes. His scoring has been up over the last couple of weeks here. Not a big categories guy, but the steals seem to be something that he's able to pick up frequently.
So he's getting us points and steals.
Yeah, and then the assist numbers have been kind of trickling up a little bit too. So maybe this is a category guy. I don't know.
Right, he's hitting 3 of them. Yeah,
he's hitting a handful of things here. So something to monitor going forward. I'll tap the interested here. So Drake picked Miami. John, do you have a team for us to dive into? Western, Eastern Conference does not matter.
Let's go take a look at the. Have we looked at the Bucks yet?
I was saving them. We can let's
look at the Bucks. I can't wait anymore.
And we do have we got about 10 more minutes left in the show before I get ready for the football show tonight. But the Bucks, winners of I think 8 of their last 10. They're on a 7-game win streak right now. Things are clicking. Middleton back, Bobby Portis. John, tell us what the Bucks been up to.
Well, Bobby Portis has been the most I'd say him and Connaughton have been the most impressive pieces on the roster because you just didn't really expect them to be this good. And Grayson Allen is hitting literally 2 threes a game. To start the season, he had a double-digit streak of games in a row with 2 threes a game. I'm not sure if he's still on it, but he's still shooting great. The rest of the roster is doing exactly what you'd expect it to do. And while I love what Bobby Portis is doing in the regular season, as long as Brook Lopez is out, he's a must-own fantasy guy right now. This team needs Brook to win in the playoffs. So hopefully he comes back healthy whenever he's ready.
Any word on Demarcus Cousins?
I know he's joining the team. I'm not sure if he's going to play minutes. There's a lot of, in my opinion, center minutes available on this roster. I love Bobby, but he needs to play more power forward or center with Giannis exclusively. Yeah. So when Giannis is off the court, I would hope for a different center in there. So love the idea of getting Cousins. They've acquired him, and I hope he can get on the court, and I'd love to see what he could do. I'm not sure what to expect, but he's a better passer than anyone has ever given him credit for in his entire life. And he's arguably probably a better 3-point shooter than anyone's really ever given him credit for in his life. So those are 2 things the Bucks offense takes advantage of. So if he could come in, I do not expect him to be useful on defense, but maybe a couple assists, certainly rebounds, certainly points. He could easily clear 20, 25 fantasy points a game for a short period of time.
And then his blocks, he's averaging a good amount of blocks over the last 7 days here, but he's a guy that can do everything. I don't know why he's only 57% rostered. He's a guy that probably needs to be added in all formats right now. Again, he's fourth on the Bucks right now in minutes per game. George Hill coming in at 5 and 5th with the minutes per game. Probably not a guy you want to add in 8-man or 10-man leagues, but maybe for 12 if you need him for a night or two. And then you did touch on Pat Connaughton, who I don't know why Pat's only 18% rostered. He's a guy that's been his scoring has been more consistent than it's been in the past year, and he's a guy that just gives you hustle with all kinds of rebounds and steals and blocks. So he's a guy that I wanted to highlight. And then anything else from the Bucks? Or do we have any update on Dante DiVincenzo?
No update on DiVincenzo, but I do know Justin Robinson is off the roster, or has been fully demoted to the G League. I'm not totally sure. I think they actually might have released him.
Plan to waive him on Monday. So that was yesterday. So that's possible rumblings of DiVincenzo entering the fold here.
They brought someone else in. I don't know who the hell they brought in, but they brought someone else.
Did they bring in him?
The Georgios?
Yeah. No, he's been there.
He's been there. He's been there.
They signed him from the G League. Oh, they signed, yeah.
Huh. Oh, well, yeah, but yes, they brought that very well could have been the move, yeah.
Okay, so maybe at some point in the month of December we get Dante DiVincenzo back. And, of course, Brook Lopez, we're just hoping that we can get him back and ready for the playoffs. He's
What about Jordan Nwawa?
Nwawa
just got signed to the G League. He just got assigned to the G League.
Dang.
Interesting. Well, he needs to get seated back up.
What it is? Nora?
Yeah, Nora. But I don't know, man. The Bucks are fun. They're playing the best basketball of the season at the moment right now. So we got 5 minutes left in the show. Any final thoughts, you guys? Or maybe one last team we can sneak in and look at real quick?
We had some Knicks talk.
Yeah, what's up with Minnesota? 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're the 6th seed in the West. We kind of counted them out for a while, but they're the 6th seed in the West right now.
Anthony Edwards is the real deal.
Should we take a peek?
KT's healthy. I believe Russell's healthy.
Yeah, Russell's playing and doing great.
This is what they wanted. This is what they imagined, and it's coming together.
So I picked up the great Jared Vanderbilt. I don't think he's playing tonight, but he had been on a bender since the 18th of November, just putting up a high in the high 20s for minutes, and then just the rebounding column has been fantastic, averaging more than 10 rebounds per game. He gets steals. Look at the steal column as well as the block. So this guy's a really active defender. And then if he does get a bunch of points, it's going to be a good night. But I really think for categories or any kind of defensive boosted leagues, this is a guy that could really help your team out right now, and he's playing good minutes. But John, any thoughts on the T-Wolves?
Jared Vanderbilt is who I thought Jaden McDaniels was going to be. So that's an impressive little streak he's on right now, especially to the point you made it, the steals consistently. He seems like a very good defensive player. So I'm interested to see what he can do if he can keep getting minutes.
So we got some Malik Beasley updates. He had a big game here of 29 points on the 24th. But if you look at his stats over the last 7 days, they are surpassing his averages on the season. So he's averaging almost 5 more minutes per game, almost 5 more points per game, but the same in rebounds. Assists are down. Some of the other stats are down, but he had that big spike here of 29 points. Maybe that's a sign of maybe some better things to come. I'm not sure. Just wanted to throw him out there because he's kind of the 5th guy getting minutes there. So if you want someone that plays a lot, Malik Beasley could be the guy, but I don't know. Any final thoughts real quick before we move on? We got time for one more team. Either of you want to throw one out, we can do it.
Hornets are always fun.
Charlotte Hornets, let's do it. Cha-cha. All right, John, what are we looking at?
Well, it always starts with LaMelo, I think, but Rozier has been having an awesome season, not only last 7 games, but across the course of the season. And Miles Bridges has obviously been having the best year of his career, and I think I've said on this show I think he will win Most Improved Player of the Year, and I stand behind that. So.
And he has just been keeping it up. The scoring's been down of late here, but everything else is kind of the same. I just wanted to say Terry Rozier has been going nuts the last 5 games or so. You see 3 games over 30 points, 1 27-point game, just taking it up another level here. So good news for Terry Rozier. Kelly Ubrey, though. This is the guy that probably bounced around a lot of teams earlier in the season, but he's over the last 4 games, he's starting to hit his stride. The minutes are up, the points are up, kind of everything looking really good for Kelly Ubrey. He's under 40% rostered. Drake, you don't have any. It doesn't look like you have any Hornets here, but what do we make of the Charlotte Hornets?
They've been a fun team to watch and kind of follow. I just kind of follow their box scores from afar right now because I don't have any of their players, but I kind of agree with everything that's been said there. So Scary Terry, and then you got Ubrey and Bridges, who's kind of coming into his own in the league finally. He was high recruit at Michigan State, and he played pretty well there. I think he came back for a second year at Michigan State, but might be wrong on that. So I like the talent here.
I don't know what's going on with Plumlee here, but he's out. So that looks like PJ Washington has been benefiting more as the 4-5 kind of hybrid there. But John, any final thoughts on Hornets? They got a bunch of guys averaging about 20 fantasy points per game. So they're a deep team for fantasy. Even if you need to pull Jalen McDaniels, PJ, some of the other pieces for a game or two. But what do you think here for a close?
LaMelo, he's at the center of it all, and all these guys are having fantastic offensive outputs. At least the kind of the key ones we talked about: Rozier, Ubrey, and Bridges. And so LaMelo with 11 assists and only 17 points himself. He's obviously not jacking a bunch of shots up. He's really just controlling this offense and facilitating. And I like the low turnover number too. I mean, he's a legit point guard.
And just steady ball again. So it's Bucks Hornets tomorrow night. That'll be a fun live look for us to take a peek at the Hornets. But this was fun. We have to get out of here for the evening. I got to do the fantasy football waiver wire show for tonight. But it sounds like Tuesday nights. We're going to try to hit Tuesday nights more frequently for you guys. So next week we'll try to get the show back together here. And I don't know. Hopefully we'll have a lot more info for you guys and just more names and more games to look at. So Drake, John, thanks for hanging out tonight. And thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Guys,
enjoy that Golden State Phoenix Suns game. If you're gonna watch a game, that's probably the game to do it. So take it easy. We'll see you guys later. Peace.